Hi, welcome to Facebook Live with the Lakewood Chamber. I'm Linda Smith here with historical Phil Raschke at the Lakewood History Museum, and I'd like to read a short bio of you, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Phil is a retired military pilot with a Purple Heart, and he served in Vietnam, correct?
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you, especially with Memorial Day coming up.
Indeed. You hold a master's degree in mass communications from the University of Tennessee and an MBA from the University of Puget Sound.
Yes.
Diligent studier. For 7 years, Phil hosted the Historical Phil radio show on KLAY and is a City of Lakewood Volunteer of the Year. You are also an award-winning writer and actor and former vice president of the Lakewood Playhouse. Phil, you are also the creator of the Lakewood Asian Film Fest and a founding member of the Lakewood Arts Commission. You currently serve on the boards of the Tacoma Buffalo Soldiers.
Yes.
And museum, and then the Lakewood History Museum, which we're sitting in right now.
Here.
Right here.
Yes.
And you have a beautiful wife, Beverly. I've had the pleasure of meeting her on several occasions, and she's a retired RN. You've got 3 adult children.
Yes.
9 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandkids.
Yes.
Wow. So the Raschke family has resided here in Lakewood since 1981. So you retired and then just decided to settle down. Is that right?
Exactly. We loved it here and we stayed.
Sounds like my dad. Yeah. Same history with family.
And my mother would have loved that intro.
Really? Okay.
That's my son.
I feel like I did well then.
You did.
So tell me a little bit about the Lakewood Historical Society and Museum.
Well, first of all, myself and Ivan here, we're delighted to be here with you. The museum and the society was formed in 1998, 2 years after cityhood. We were at a different location, but we were able to secure the location that we're in right now. It's very spacious with the Colonial Theater and a big exhibit room that we completely remodeled. We took all our available cash. So we've been moving forward ever since we came here. We've been here about 2.5 years now, and it's really working out well for us.
It's great space. I love it.
Yes, and you can walk over and see the inside of the old Colonial Theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brings back a lot of memories.
Right.
Lots of memories.
It was 1937. It goes back.
And we are sitting here in the former cafe of Lakewood.
Terrace Restaurant.
Terrace Restaurant.
Yes.
Also favorite of mine, and I remember when it was open.
It's a true landmark.
It really is. It truly is. It's beautiful. Now you've had some wonderful events here, and what can we look forward to in the future?
Well, we just finished. We did a 2-day presentation on the Titanic.
Yes.
And with Peter Cook and Kathy Lamette, they did a marvelous job. Everything you wanted to know or thought about the Titanic. They answered questions. Kathy's got a beautiful book on the Titanic. We had 120 people come and attend that 2 days. So we just completed that, and we were very happy. On the 2nd of June, we are going to launch a brand new program, and it's going to be our book program. And maybe you can see some of the bookshelves behind me here. The idea was I was over at the Fox Island Museum, and they had a very large book program there. So we thought, with their permission, that we would copy it because the Lakewood Library is closed. So what we're saying to residents of the city, you can bring us your books, and we only take hardbacks, fiction or nonfiction, and we'll also take paperbacks, fiction or nonfiction.
Okay.
And then you can bring them in, and while you're here, we will put the books that have already arrived here on the shelves. You can peruse the shelves, and if you find a new author that you like, you can attain that book.
Okay.
We do ask for donations, $1 for a hardback and 2 paperbacks for $1. But that's just to give us a little spending money, so to speak, to keep the shelves stocked and cleaned and everything like that.
Well, that sounds like a bargain.
Well, it is a bargain, and what it does, though, the primary reason is it builds traffic. You come to the museum, and you come into the museum, so that and then you may take a tour of the museum once you're here, rather than
Fabulous.
just, yes, it's a, we hope it'll be very successful. And we will run it from the 2nd of June to the 19th of August.
Okay, so we
So
have several months then that we can come in and swap out books,
swap out books, yeah.
read some, and then bring some back and
Yeah,
donate a few more.
absolutely.
Okay, I
And,
love that.
mhm.
I love that.
And we look forward to seeing everybody. Now,
Yeah.
I forgot, I should mention though, when you bring them, you can only bring them on Friday and Saturday
Okay.
from noon to 4 p.m. Friday and Saturday.
Noon to
And we
4.
ask people, please don't come and just leave them at the door, because it becomes unsightly for everything. And if the weather turns bad, it won't do us any good in terms of the quality of the books.
Certainly not.
So just Friday and Saturday, noon to 4.
Saturday and Saturday, noon to 4.
Yes.
We'll keep that in mind. Okay.
Thank you.
So you began an initiative that involves presenting historical programs such as Ivan the Gorilla, right behind us.
Ivan.
Right. And Veterans Day. You do a program on Veterans Day as well?
We do.
Right.
And the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, there are PowerPoint presentations.
Okay.
We do the Doolittle Raiders.
Okay.
We're working on one on Amelia Earhart, which we're going to do that program on the 1st of August.
Okay.
Right here in the museum. It'll be absolutely free.
Okay.
The life and times of Amelia Earhart.
That sounds like fun.
Yes, and I have been to the last place Amelia Earhart was seen alive. So, but I'll save that for the presentation.
Okay. Okay.
But the idea of these presentations is not everybody will come to a museum or have the time to get here. But there's a lot of civic groups. There's Rotary, Kiwanis. We will come to you. You ask for a program of the ones that we have available, and we will come out and make that presentation to you. You can get a program on Ivan and the history of the museum itself, or like I said, you can get the Doolittle Raid. You can get Veterans Day. Okay. So it's a way for outreach and make the museum a fully integrated part of the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you would like to have a traveling show come to your particular organization, contact the Historical Society. And
exactly, yeah.
And you'll have somebody knowledgeable like Phil or someone in the back like Glenn come out and make a presentation for you.
We look forward to hearing from you too.
Absolutely,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Essentially, the three main sources of funding for museums, for most museums, I should say, are public funding, endowments, and donations, right? So want to tell us how we can easily support this museum?
Well, you identified the three main sources. Our annual operating budget is about $60,000. Now, the museum is staffed by all volunteers.
Yes.
There is no paid staff. Most of our expenses are rent and utilities and things like that. We are about to kick off our annual fundraising campaign with our membership. And the good news is there's been a lot of inflation. You just go to the gas pumps or go buy some food. But we have kept our membership the same. It's been the same for the last 3 years. It's $20 per individual, $35 for a family. And we will be sending letters out to our membership asking them to renew. And should they give us an added amount over $50, they will have opportunities to win baskets of wine.
Ooh, yes. That sounds lovely.
Right. But that will bring in, normally it brings in about $10,000. We also get donations. We get people in wills and codicils and things like that. We will get money. And so we come up with about $35,000 on our own. Again, it's all volunteers. It actually takes us away from the museum because we have to spend a certain amount of time to raise the funds.
Indeed.
The other part of the money is for the last several years has been the Lakewood lodging tax. Now, the lodging tax meets once a year, and you have to apply for it and make a presentation to the board. Yes. And if they approve your presentation and are awarded the money, then you will have that additional money. And for the last couple of years, they've been very generous in improving our requests and allowing to remodernize this area. Yes. And but it's a year by year. So we look forward to being able to get a source of funding that is multi-year, but we're not there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have something that's robust, that you're not, scraping
Right.
by
Yeah.
with your fingernails
Right.
every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a challenge, of course, for many organizations.
It's a challenge for every museum
Indeed.
and other organizations, right? When people say, "Well, I need to buy a more flash drives," and people, "What? Why?" And so we'd like to make it an easy process each year to sustain the museum and keep it in great shape.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we should easily be able to double your subscribers, your members, if you will. Let's talk about that a little bit more later.
All right. We look forward to it. Yeah.
So there's no question that our local museums add so much a richness and culture to our society and right here in our community. If you had a magic wand, what's the one thing you would add to ensure that we still have this museum for future generations?
Well, the one thing that I just alluded to it is a sustainable funding source. That is, that we know that the money is going to be there, so we can plan ahead, we can develop things, and we can make special exhibits because we know we have the funds available. Now it's on a year-to-year basis. So if it's not in this year's budget, we can plan it, but we have to wait till we get the funding sources for next year. But there's a lot of richness here. I always tell people, if you come into the museum, you can get a flyer that Glenn was very instrumental in putting together. And it's where we have all our historical markers out in the community.
Yes.
And I tell people there's things like, there is a woman here that is buried right here in Lakewood who gave Idaho its name. So we have a lady here that named the state of Idaho. There's things that happened back in the 1852 on the prairie. A gentleman named Heath was here and had a cabin, and he kept a daily diary. And it's a fascinating read of what life was like right here in Lakewood. And it needs to be preserved because of its richness. You can actually go back in time and feel what it was really like at different periods of our history.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then historical buildings and things that need to be preserved.
Well, if I had a magic wand, of course, we want to ensure that financially, you are robust and you are able to keep your doors open. But I would love to see your doors open longer. And so I think my call, wish number 2, would be that you had more volunteer docents that were able to volunteer some time, come out here, learn about the history of Lakewood, and be able to share and impart that with the visitors that come through the doors. So that would be my wish.
And it's a good wish, and I like your wand. Yes, and docents, that's a recurring. And if anybody's listening and would like to be a docent, please contact us.
Absolutely,
we'd love to have you. Yeah, and it's a good group of people.
It's a wonderful group of people. Yeah. If people want to find out more about the Historical Society and Museum, where can they find you? Social media?
www.lakewoodhistorical.org.
Okay.
And it'll take you right to us.
Okay. I think you're also on Facebook.
Facebook, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we go for a quick walk? Just a real quick walk around your exhibits here?
Is it okay, Ivan, if he's okay with it.
Is he all right with it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to see if I can do this. And I'm going to...
Should I follow you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Here is the front desk, the welcome desk, and some really cool exhibits of Ivan. We see quite a few of Ivan in the back, and a timeline. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, here. Ivan was 50 years old when he passed away. As most people know, he was at the B&I, which is in the city of Lakewood. And in 1994, he was transferred to Atlanta.
Okay.
And was in the zoo there. He one of the ideas was to see if he would mate, but he never mated. Ivan was very humanized.
He was.
Yes, and it might have been somewhat difficult for him there because he never really integrated. He would stay by himself in his own compound. But if you go to Point Defiance Park, there's a statue of Ivan, and if you touch it, Ivan's ashes, he was cremated, his ashes are in that statue.
I did not know that.
Yes, so you can actually touch Ivan.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're just starting at the entrance here. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I just kind of wanted you to see how easy it is to navigate. Lots and lots of great detailed information here.
And there's Mr. Heath himself.
There's Mr.
Right there.
Heath himself.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Mr. Heath.
Well, I believe he was Scottish. He came in early on. He was here in the late 1840s, but he kept a diary, and he lived basically where Western State Hospital is. And his writings were just beautiful. Some of it, one of his big problems was mosquitoes. He always called them the damn mosquitoes. And so every night when he get ready to go to bed, he said the damn mosquitoes would show up. But he gave stories about what happened during the day and who was involved and what was going on. And if you close your eyes, you can almost visualize what he saw. And we have that replica cabin. We just went by it. Also on the back wall there, you'll see the Bird Mill, which if you're driving down Steilacoom Boulevard, and right where it dips, where you can see Lake Steilacoom on your left, and I believe there's a veterinary office on the right.
Yes.
There's a little bridge. And that bridge, if you ever stop there and look way up into the woods, is where the old Bird Mill was.
Indeed. Okay.
Which supplied a lot of the lumber that was being used at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do these flags have any significance?
They do. And I must admit, I would have to ask Glenn because they belong to Glenn.
Oh, okay.
But on the way out, I'll ask him,
Okay,
about
alrighty.
the flags. Then we have something on the Buffalo Soldiers who, in 1904, the Buffalo Soldiers did field maneuvers here with the Army. Now, most of them were stationed in DuPont, and they've got a marker there now and an historical trail. But there was one troop of the Buffalo Soldiers that were located where Camp Murray is, with the National Guard here.
Okay.
And so they were actually in Lakewood themselves from 1904, and they came in over a couple of years, all the way up to 1910. And it was their presence here and the other Army units that were here that gave the idea to the military that this would be a great site for a military post. As you know, Fort Lewis was built in 1917.
Yes.
And basically prior to our entrance into World War I. There's our first mayor of Lakewood, Lieutenant General Harrison.
Looking quite dapper.
Yes, quite dapper. And he is still with us?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Well, Phil, you have so much.
Yes, and the famous
Speedway.
Yes, the Indianapolis of the West.
Indeed.
Right here.
Yes.
Yes. And it was built around 1912. And in 1920, they remodeled it and built a grandstand and everything else like that. And the location, if you drive by Clover Park Technical College, that is where the grandstands and the were there for the Speedway. People like Olds from Oldsmobile, Chevrolet from the name Chevrolet, Eddie Rickenbacker, the famous ace, he raced here. So a lot of greats would come here. Unfortunately, the economics in the situation in 1922, it was closed. But if you come here, you can see a very nice video, and you can actually touch a piece of the Speedway track. Yes.
Okay. We've got so much here, and unfortunately, not a whole lot of time.
No,
so
but
we're gonna go quickly through.
On your left over here, though, is Alice Mann, and who is the founder of. I love that photograph. It's almost like she's right here with us.
Yes.
She was not an educator by background, but she loved education and work. She actually founded the first school district and gave Clover Park its name because when the district was formed,
Mm-hmm.
they asked to name it after her, and she said, no, that wouldn't be right. But she did say she loved the clovers along the creek. And so why not call it Clover Park? And that's the name, and it's still there today. Thank you, Alice.
Thanks, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Auto Shop in 1941.
Mm-hmm. And also if you go to Clover Park Technical College, if you really get out in the middle of it and look down, you can see remnants of the old runway, because the Mueller-Harkins Airport, when the Speedway closed in 1922, the inside of the Speedway was grass covered and flat. And so the airplanes were becoming popular, and they started landing on this grass field. And eventually that translated into the Mueller-Harkins Airport. And one of the hangars there is still on the property of Clover Park. Yeah.
This is why we call you Historical Phil.
I thought it was because of age.
No, no, no.
Oh,
you are
okay.
just a wealth of information.
Yeah. Mm.
Absolutely a wealth.
Yeah.
And so we're going to...
Yes, and by the way, going back
here.
to if you become a member for $20, you will get our famous Prairie Gazette newsletter that is full of historical information and upcoming events. And there is Glenn.
There's Glenn. Hi, Glenn.
Glenn, the flag, the big American flag in the case back there, belonged to you, right?
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
USS Columbia,
Okay.
which was a World War I transport ship. It was bought by H.F. Alexander, and it was named H.S.F. Alexander when he got it in 1922-3 area, and was part of his steamship line.
Columbia.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
No, but you can come right here and see it.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Thank you for that, Glenn.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to park ourselves here.
We're back, Ivan.
We're back.
Yeah.
Thanks for patiently waiting. So, Phil, I know that we had to go through this fairly quickly, and there's so much more that you wanted to share with us. But is there anything that you would like to impart? Any final words about the Historical Society, about the museum, about you, about your grandkids?
The grandkids would take a whole nother segment, because there's a lot of them. And now there's the great grandkids.
Right.
No, but thank you for coming and spending time here in the museum. And I'll give you my favorite expression, though. Every thread of gold is precious. So is every moment of time. And this has been a very nice time. And again, I thank you for coming. And I'll also add on to this. There's a phrase that a child that grows up without a knowledge of its past forever remains a child. History is important. It's important to our cultures. It's important to our citizenry. So get involved.
Well, that was a great saying. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We really enjoyed it. And I look forward to coming back, learning some more.
We look forward to having you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.